back to another video. Today, I'm discussing why the Uchiha had to go, slash explaining like the Uchiha massacre. Of course, the Uchiha massacre was conscripted by, of course, Danzo using Itachi as an outlet to get rid of the Uchiha. The Uchiha, of course, knowingly by the Leaf higher-ups, was planning a coup against the Leaf higher-ups so they could essentially take over and run the Leaf, as they were tired of the oppression that they were receiving, plus the ridicule they were receiving by the Leaf while being investigated for the Nine Tails attack that they did not do, being forced to the outside edge of the village, because guess what? They were investigated and saw it that the only people that can control the Nine Tails were Genjutsu users, while also Fugaku being kicked out of the running of 4th Hokage. Now, why he wasn't chosen for 5th Hokage was the point of factor that the Uchiha was getting investigated. But, of course, the 5th Hokage eventually just, the 3rd Hokage stepped into that role, and then when the 3rd died, of course, Tsunade assumed that role as well. Within all that, the only reason the Uchiha had to go, including the children, unfortunately, was because of their pride. Of course, Tobirama kind of predicted the downfall of the Uchiha. Now, he knew the necessary precautions. He knew that the Uchiha was necessary to fortify the Leaf strength. So Danzo getting rid of them kind of makes no sense. But Tobirama knew that every time a loved one of theirs dies, their love grew stronger. Their love could turn to hatred. You know, Mangekyo, regular Sharingan, and then eventually their EMS if they were to sacrifice a loved one's eyes for themselves that also had the Mangekyo Sharingan, they can of course turn into an EMS. Now, multiple Uchiha had the Sharingan just because of the multiple ninja wars that they were in. Fugaku, of course, having the name of Fugaku, the Wicked Eye, as well as Shisui having the Mangekyo Sharingan, as well as Itachi having the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kind of a running thing since they experienced so much traumatic events during those warring periods against the other nations. Kind of was, probably had multiple. Now, since their pride got in their way and they thought about the oppression and everything that the Leaf did to them, the coup was a bad idea. Of course, they started as a last option. Fugaku did not want to do it. Fugaku was kind of on the side of, hey, we kind of just got to let this ride out. Eventually, everything is going to sort itself out. But the Uchiha wanted action now. Of course, this is a bad thing because say the coup were to go through and the Leaf, had to go into a civil war. Other nations were to attack, and another great ninja war inevitably would have been provoked between the other nations just because the Leaf was in turmoil and everyone would have started to attack. Inevitably, the Uchiha would have lost on a grand scale just because the Leaf is too powerful. It's just the Leaf and the Uchiha would have suffered major losses on each side, reaching that rebuilding period and the talking period between the clans and the Leaf. Which, a lot would have happened. A lot of the Uchihas would have been locked up. They would have faced something worse than death, just off the benefactor of being associated with the Uchiha. The Itachi stopped all that because the clan was never going to win against the Leaf. Not against the 3rd, Danzo, Jiraiya, Tsunade, the other clans, the Nara clan, the Hyuga clan especially, and all these other clans that would have joined the fight against them. Yeah, the Uchihas would have lost, but they would have destabilized the Leaf to a point of fact that the other nations would have sought it a good option to attack sooner, and a Nine Tails attack would have been more provoked. A Nine Tails attack would have been another thing coming, just on the benefactor of they are wide open. There's an opportunity there, and the Leaf was a powerhouse nation through every Great Ninja War. They had the strongest warriors. From Great Ninja War 1, Hashirama. Ninja War 2, Tobirama and Hiruzen. Ninja War 3, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Minato, Fugaku, Sakumo. So the nations would have took this as a chance to basically erase the Leaf right off the map. of course, and this just could not happen, and that's why Itachi had to do it. Now, granted, Kotaro Matsukami could have just ended all of that right now. Why Itachi didn't do it? We understood why Shisui wanted to do it, but Itachi thought the best plan of action was that everyone just had to go. Of course, Obito did have to help because Itachi versus all like the powerful Uchiha, he would have lost. So that's kind of it. That's why the Uchiha had to go, because if the coup were to go and Leaf Civil War happened, destabilization, attack, none of that could have happened, and the Leaf would have suffered major casualties, more than the Uchiha would have been lost in any kind of interaction. Anyway, like, subscribe. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you think the Uchiha thing could have been avoided? Kotaro Matsukami was still an option. I mean, Itachi still had the eye to do it, but eventually he saved that for a much later use. Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.